This week, silver reached a 10-year high, and it was nowhere on the mainstream news. But then again, Bitcoin happens to get a little bit of shine towards the end of the week with a potential announcement of Microsoft getting involved. And then you have Tether investigation by the Department of Justice. Cover up, am I conspiratorial? Or is this deliberate distraction to just keep us away from silver? Let's talk about this. All right, so I want to take a quick minute, share some thoughts. Relatively nice day outside. And so I wanted to actually comment on this past week's activity, given that it was monumental in the sense that silver moved 6%. And then no one outside of the metals community actually seemed to care. And so what did make the headlines and what trended on X a lot was the activity in Bitcoin. So once again, I'm not going to come from the standpoint of Bitcoin is this, Bitcoin is that. I just want to focus on what should surprise and what shouldn't surprise and what should interest the people first and foremost on top of everything else that is going on. And of course, silver being a monetary medium for eons. I shared a visual aid, which you can see right here, which is the gold to silver ratio throughout the beginning of time for the most part. And if you look at the averages, 1 to 10 to 15, and as of today it's 1 to 80. That in of itself is something that should be all across the headlines because that is an anomaly. It is an artificial anomaly. It is fake. There's nothing real about it. We all know that. But then again, because of the introduction of digital assets, and of course, Bitcoin, a lot of people don't focus on that. Nevertheless, just combine both together. Worst case scenario, incorporate both together so that people can have something tangible, whether it be gold or silver, and then speculate on potential price appreciation with Bitcoin. That's just, to me, why not have them both together? But then again, you have Bitcoin maximalists that solely focus on Bitcoin and nothing else. That is toxic. It's 100% toxic. And it's very misleading because we are already heading towards a world that's 100% digital. And why wouldn't you encourage people or just remind people of the importance of having something real and tangible that you can hold in your hands in a world where everything that is taking place is designed to remove physical, tangible property from your possession. And so these are some things that really concern me, but I want to comment on the price action in silver and just the anomaly with this distortion of the ratio. If you look at how history has always evolved, every 100 years or so, we've gone through a monetary shift. That monetary shift results in governments crumbling because of war, that, and then you have the recalibrating of the monetary mediums, i.e. gold and silver, where they return back to the forefront just because of the price of those items reach a number that's hard to ignore. And even though gold is at 2,700 right now, silver at 33 and some change at this current moment is enough to talk about because we've broken through the TA's charts of not $30 to 30. We're at 33 now. And of course, at any minute, because this is a futures manipulated market, it can definitely go below 30. But then you factor in what's happening out of the BRICS with their idea of starting a precious metals exchange in the future. That right there will completely break this artificial reality of silver being 30 and gold being 27, because even those figures are extremely low compared to what they should be if we live in a physical settled market. And so the confusing part is how those in the digital asset space don't first tell the community to make sure you got your silver because of the ratio. 1 to 80 is an anomaly. Like just from us as human beings being given dominion by God over the natural realm, we can know that everything that comes from the earth, everything beneath our feet is for us to dominate. And that means minerals, agriculture, farming, you name it. Mankind is supposed to rule over those domains. But then again, it's been manipulated because it has been financialized with futures contracts and all the other derivatives and swaps and all that other stuff designed to benefit and profit the banking sector. And then you have another article that surfaced saying that because of this recent price action of this $3 or $4 over the last week or two, that there's 5 banks that are right now being squeezed because of their positioning. And so you take all that in, how come that is not mainstream news where everybody and their mother is focused on it and encouraged to do some investigative work for themselves? That is something that should be talked about. But then again, silver action moves this week, and then Bitcoin automatically is thrust back into the light in reference to its price action being a little volatile. And so we got bombs dropping all over the Middle East, and it's not taking off the way that gold has responded, because gold is responding from a global repositioning of what is and what has been a standard that has been put to the side until now, because every nation is in a debt crunch right now. But the parallels between silver reaching 10-year plus high and Bitcoin being a chosen medium, even on the All In podcast that I watch frequently, because those are 4 different unique venture capitalists sharing their 2 insights, even though it's very watered down because they can't share their world behind the scenes, but they do a good job of sharing content. Even they, in their most recent talked about Bitcoin being something that is going to be a long-term inflation hedge and all that stuff like that. And they mentioned gold, but they didn't touch silver, not once. Concerning. And so if the ratio is 80-1 as of today, let's just say the silver squeeze on the 5 billion banks to control and manipulate the markets happened to break, or what's happening with the BRICS decided to try to discover true price of what that metal should be. We're looking at something in the 3 digits easily just to get started. Then it can go to 4 digits. And then because there's no ceiling to how high in dollar term the metal actually can be, when you factor in that every single Federal Reserve note must be accounted for with something physical, meaning there's no ceiling to how high silver and gold can go, because if those are monetary historical mediums of value, then 1 ounce will be sought after by a lot of people. And therefore, that right there would drive up the bidding price for that 1 ounce. So we could see numbers that our mind can't fathom. I'm actually working on a video where just crunching some numbers. I'm looking at 20, based upon where gold can go, looking at $20,000 to $30,000 an ounce silver. But then again, that number is unfathomable. But think about the world we'd be living in if we got that type of number. And I can admit, I don't want to see that number. I don't want to see 5-digit silver. I don't, because in that world, it's not going to be comfortable. It's not going to be pretty. It's going to be a crap show. And then think about this from beyond those who are wise and prudent with their strategies. You might be comfortable, but the world around you is not. And of course, if you're a follower of this show and any alternative media platform, you are prepared in that regard there. Your life could be, now that I'm just ranting a little bit, I did get a question from one of the viewers, and I did read it, didn't have a chance to reply to, but I'll take it now. The question was, Mike, I am prepared. I've been doing preparation for a long time, but what about the life that I live with my family? Those that don't listen to me, what do they do? How will I help them? And that's where I mentioned this before, but I'll do it again just real briefly. I think the position you're in now, if you're watching this, you're 99% more advanced financially, probably spiritually, as well as natural preparations, food, water, shelter, yada, yada. And so with your metals in particular, because of the unfathomable price discovery that we could have, it won't take much to be a blessing to other people. And that's why, not to really plug anything, but having fractionally denominated metals, whether it be the gold notes, which I encourage people to take advantage of. Go buy buygoldnotes.com, link in the description. Those are fractional notes that will appreciate in price. Having a stack of those, you can actually give to your family and friends as a way of saying, hey, 5, 10 of these could be, depending on the value of those at the time, which will definitely be higher than they are now, could be a week's worth of food, depending on how they maneuver. But those are ways that you can be a blessing to other people. By you having access first, and then having excess of the mediums, you can actually, those closest to you, you can be a blessing in that regard. So it doesn't take much to be a blessing to other people, especially if we get to a number in a world where things are completely chaotic. So that's just something in regards to that question there. But real quick, back to the Bitcoin push in the midst of a silver surge. Silver surge should be front and foremost, given its historical manipulation. But then again, the Bitcoin community have a vested interest to make sure that they pump their bags first. I understand that. But a true crypto enthusiast, which is what I would consider myself, would tell people to have insurance for your currency first, which is the gold and silver. Don't even it's insurance. You hope not to file a claim. And then that's wealth preservation. Forget about it. Now on this side is wealth accumulation. Those are when the Bitcoins and digital assets come into play, because the system is pumping it. They want it to surge. So clearly, having exposure there, it's a great gamble and a great churn at the very minimum. And so get your insurance first, then speculate. You can have wealth preservation or wealth accumulation. Wealth preservation work hand in hand if you have a strategy. So once again, the potential of Microsoft coming in now, and it's being announced this week amongst the surge in silver. I find to be somewhat skeptical, whatever. And then you have the Department of Justice, once again, just the word Tether, Department of Justice, or the United States government in general coming out is of concern, because it's like they've been investigating them and should have been investigating them since the beginning of the Bitcoin, because it's a money laundering scheme of them being able to create fake dollars to drive the price of a Bitcoin. But now all of a sudden they want to investigate that. And of course, the market corrected. And so that market correction in Bitcoin and other cryptos caught the headlines. It's plastered all across the mainstream media, and it's being used amongst alternative media in the crypto space because people are focused on their bags. But what about the silver surge? Like, how come that didn't make front page news, driving more price action up? Because the 5 banks, which control a lot of the politicians, crypto exchanges, those 5 banks that were squeezed this past week, that got silenced. So they needed a counter story, which happens to be Microsoft and the Department of Justice cracking down on Bitcoin. So everything is intentional, nothing's accidental. They, meaning the powers that be, those that are trying to control the narrative, everything is scripted to them, but to us, we act like as if it's new. This has come out of nowhere. This has come out of right field. This has come out of left field. In actuality, they have all this plan. They know exactly what they're trying to accomplish. And the goal, of course, is to make sure that you have nothing physical in your possession, no property rights. That's where this is heading. But anyway, want to take a minute, share some thoughts. Curious to hear what you guys think. Is this Microsoft and Department of Justice announcement this week in particular designed to counter the narrative of the 5 banks that are being squeezed from the bullion side of things with silver? I'll let you guys determine that. But anyway, curious to hear your thoughts. If you found value here, leave a comment, share your 2 cents. Let's get some dialogue. If you found value, share this so more people can find out what's going on, and subscribe, click the bell. And I look forward to sharing more just thoughts and trying to put stories together for you guys in the future. Other than that, be blessed, be safe. Shalom.